everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Love and Light Talk Show. I'm your host, Jayshree Shrikant, and today I come to you with another beautiful guest. She is not only a mother to two beautiful children, she's also an author of the book, and I'm going to tell you all about it. This is Healing the Heart Mindfully. We're going to talk all about her journey, the book, and why you should have it. And it's full of information that is going to transform anybody. Not just, I know this book is all about after having a heart surgery, but honestly, it can work in any time in your life that you need a little bit of sort of centering. So a little bit about my guest. Her name is Monica Jain. And by the way, Monica and I go back many years when I used to live in Stanford, and I can tell you, she is something very special. And so she's a physical therapist, mindfulness practitioner, and a public speaker. She holds a master's in cardiopulmonary physical therapy and received her doctorate from Massachusetts General Hospital. She has also been working as a master clinician at Mount Sinai Hospital in Manhattan since 2006. Now, her strength and passion is to integrate conventional physical therapy with complementary techniques such as mindfulness, yoga, and meditation. Monica, thank you so much for taking time to come on my show, and welcome.
Thank you, Jay. Thank you so much.
This is amazing. She has authored this book, and is this now available to patients as well who have gone through heart surgery? Is it something that they can access?
Yes.
Okay. So, by the way, I will be putting a link to the book in my description box. It'll be on Amazon, of course. Hey, COVID times, we got to have everything delivered to our doors, right? And so we'll just jump right into it. Monica, tell me about your journey. I know you mentioned in the book on how, with your daughter having eczema and how you overcame that. It's not just her going through it, but a lot of times when your child is suffering, the parents suffer, right? So tell me about your and how you discovered mindfulness. I mean, this is something, everyone thinks, oh, we know all about it, but not really.
So, it's so funny because I did not know the word mindfulness till I got a book called The Mindfulness in Plain English. And that was a gift from my husband on one of my birthdays. And my first reaction was like, what is this? Like, what kind of book is this? And he said, I think you are going to like it. And sure, I did. So after 2 or 3 days, I started reading, and within 2 or 3 pages, Jay, I fell in love with that book. And I started practicing the practices that were given in the book. And I'm like, ooh, this is something so remarkable. So let me just go back. When I was growing up, I thought that health and well-being is to exercise, to eat right, and to follow like any religion that you are following, do some religious activity, do some volunteer activity. And that was all about my definition of health. And I always used to feel that, like when there are any exams or any challenging situations that come into our life, it's normal to feel anxious and overwhelmed and frustrated. And I do remember my teachers and parents telling me that, oh, you should not be angry, or you should not be nervous about it, or not be anxious about. But I'm like, okay, I get it, but how do you not? Right? Nobody teaches us that how you should not be angry, or what can you do.
Yeah.
And that's what was the crux of the whole book. And with mindfulness practices, I realized that how much we have the power to choose in every single moment and create the experience and design the life that we want. Just going through all the emotions and realizing that, oh my God, I have the power to choose how I want to respond to the situation rather than react. And that opened up a whole new realm of world for me. Like when I was pregnant with my son, So in the third month, I realized, I mean, not I realized, but we found that he has only one single umbilical artery.
Oh my goodness.
And my OBGYN was like really nervous, and he had every 2 weeks cardiologist appointments just to make sure that he doesn't have any cardiac issues
Mm-hmm.
and he is just on par with everything. And that for a mom, it can be very, very stressful. And it was
Traumatizing.
stressful. But then with the mindfulness practices, I was able to think that, okay, this is what I do not have control. Like we do the needful, like, okay, the doctors are going to take care of whatever is happening and this and that. But how do I manage my peace and groundedness within that 9 month period?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I realized that no, mindfulness practices has so much of power. So coming from my own personal experiences and transformation, it just got rooted in me day after day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I got empowered and felt that desire to share this message to my friends and families. And then the journey started, and then I was like, okay, let me get trained myself so that I can make this available to my patients.
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I went into the training, and then I started implementing with my patients plan of care. And oh my god, the whole journey was absolutely like the patients were healing in a very holistic way.
Mm-hmm.
It was not just that part.
Mm-hmm.
And then, when I was treating the patients would ask me, do you have anything in writing? And I
Yeah.
would say, this is common sense. Like, how can I
Yeah.
put this in writing?
Yeah.
And then I kept getting these messages over and over again.
Yeah.
And
Put it in
like,
writing.
right. And then, like, my dad always, whenever I used to talk to him in India on every single phone call, he would be like, why don't you write a journal article? Why don't you write this? Why don't you write this? And I was so annoyed at one point that I stopped talking with him for a
Oh,
while.
because
Like, because I'm like,
he was like, did you
as
write?
soon as soon as I talk to him, he's gonna say, did you write anything? And I always felt that desire, but I'm like, when my kids go to the college, I'm gonna write it.
Yeah.
But these constant messages, when they started coming, and I remember one particular moment when there was a physician assistant right next to my patient,
Right.
and we both finished our treatment. We stepped out, and she said, Monica, have you ever thought about writing a book?
Oh
And
my
that
Lord.
was the message. That same day, I came at home and I was like, these messages are not just coming. I have
Mm.
to sit down and write. And my first line was, I don't know what to write.
Oh.
And
Oh, you
then,
sat down. It was like a writer's block or like mental block. Mm-hmm.
right.
Then when did it just start flowing?
So then I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just think about what are the frequently asked questions
Mm-hmm.
that patients ask me and how do I approach them? So I listed down all the questions and concerns they have, and then I started answering them. So you will find in my book that I like when a reader reads, you would feel that as if I'm talking to them. It doesn't feel like I'm answering, but
Yeah.
I can feel that that my energy would be there, and this is how I literally talk to my patients
Wow.
and be with them. So that's how I started putting the answers, and then the whole book became a reality.
This. So how much time did it take for you to get the book ready from start to finish? Because it's so simple yet so profound.
It took a lot of time. I didn't realize that how much goes into the book
Mm.
till I finished this book. Like
Yeah.
initially I thought that okay, just I write everything,
Yeah.
then editor takes care of it, then the printing guy takes care,
No,
then the publishing and everything. But it took a lot of time. Like
process.
my biggest struggle was like, when everything was done and my editor comes to me and says, Mike, I'm not too happy with the title. Can you write 20 titles and we'll pick one?
Oh Lord.
Oh my goodness,
Oh
20 titles? Are
Lord.
you
20.
kidding? But we
So
ended up and
it took a lot of thought to get the title heart healing from the heart mind. But I have to say the name is beautiful, and it,
yes,
it really encompasses everything that you are trying to put in this book. So that is really phenomenal.
thank
Um,
you.
so it's really interesting with Monica. She has, she's as a physical therapist. She's got all this experience, and now she's clubbing mindfulness together. Because actually, if you think about physical therapy, it's all about, okay, do this exercise. But really, it's like mind, body, soul. This is so all encompassing. And that's something which is, I don't want to say it's not really in the American system, but it really is, it's something that's kind of new. The concept of your mind and how you feel even after surgery, right? Now, do you believe that uh, just having a surgery, that's actually just the beginning? The real struggle, or you could say the real healing, starts post surgery, right?
Yeah, post and pre-surgery, like when you enter into the surgical mode with that confidence, with that positive mindset, and with that just feeling, that trust, getting into the surgery with all those tools with you
Mhm.
makes a huge difference. And when they enter into the surgery with that attitude
Yes.
and with that great mindset,
Yes.
I mean, the body responds so much because your heart, body, and mind are, as you said, are all in harmony. They
Mm.
are synced together. And when they all are synced together, it really makes a huge difference.
It's funny you're saying this, and what comes to my mind, and I didn't know really about mindfulness as well, but I remember with all three pregnancies, I went, and especially Veer being the first one, I went into the, like walking into the maternity ward, and I'm like, all right, I'm ready, my water broke. And they're like, you're kind of like you told us 4 hours ago your water broke. And I'm like walking, because I've always had this thing like it'll go well, and I think that's extremely important. And it did. It sort of set the precedence of how it was going to. And even the doctors were saying, you're very calm. And then when I was looking at your book, what stood out for me was like the breathing techniques. And that's something I was doing subconsciously. I didn't even realize that it was actually what was helping me, just those deep breaths. So which makes me come to one of my, I kind of jumped a few questions, but Monica, do you want to go through like the breathing techniques? I know you've mentioned three main ones in your book. If you can just tell the viewers a little bit about each of the techniques.
Sure. So breathing techniques is nothing but they are mindfulness anchors. Like what is mindfulness? Being in the present moment. Like for us, this is the present moment while I am with you. What happened before the our talk is gone, and what's
Mhm.
going to happen after it hasn't come. So
Mm.
just being in this present moment is what is mindfulness, right?
Mhm.
So how do you come in the present moment? If you tell your mind, come in the present moment, come in the present moment, it's never gonna. You are gonna think more about the same thing,
Yeah.
right? So, how do you bring yourself in the present moment? So, breathing technique or the breath anchors are one of the powerful tools to bring yourself in the present moment. And why is that? Because you can never breathe for past, you can never breathe for future.
No, you
You
can
can
breathe for
only
the
breathe
present.
for the present. Otherwise, everybody would have kept the breath in their lockers, right? So that's where it begins. And the first common and very simple breathing exercise is the belly breathing.
Okay.
You can do it with open eyes, you can do it with closed eyes, you can do it sitting quietly, or you can even practice it while you are in action.
Hmm.
So, just like depending on where you are and what you are, because sometimes, for example, if there is a very aggressive conversation going at the workplace, or there is a like a difficult conversation going within the family, that time you can just breathe.
Mhm.
That is just bringing conscious attention to the breath, and you will realize how much power you have to respond versus react. So let's practice the belly breathing.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
all you can do is you can put one hand on the heart, one hand on the belly,
Okay.
and simply, if you are okay closing the eyes, you close your eyes gently and just feel your breath, how the air is going in through the nose, into your lungs, how's the chest expanding, and just follow the exhalation process. So basically, you are tracking your inhalation and exhalation, and now you're going to bring a conscious breath into your body. So breathe in Slow, deep, gentle, conscious breath in through the nose. Feel the expansion of the chest and breathe it out slowly through your mouth. One more time, breathe in and slowly breathe out. Gently
Wow.
open your
This
eyes
is
and come
amazing.
back. Just those two breaths are going to be like a fire extinguisher. Whenever you are like nervous, if you are waiting for some test results, or if something you are anxious about, or if you feel overwhelmed, frustrated, upset, my invitation is to try this breathing exercise. Simple belly breathing and just feel the experience.
So just being conscious of your breath, I'm guessing that itself consciously, how, and it's a beautiful thing. The breath itself, right? It's life. It's,
Right, that is.
each breath is a gift. People actually just take so much for granted. Even the breath you're breathing is a gift, really. So
Absolutely.
wow, I love it. I love it. And
The
what's
second
the second one?
technique I would really, really like to share is like if you are having any pain symptoms, if you are suffering, like, sometimes just like when you wake up in the morning, you feel your all the muscles are
Mhm.
tight, or you're having chronic low back issues, or knee pain, or anything, or God forbid if you have to go through any surgery and if you are going through the rehab, there is a technique called pursed lip breathing.
Okay.
What does that mean is you are pursing your lips and breathing out. So all you do is take a small conscious breath in through the nose
Mm-hmm.
and you breathe it out through your mouth as if you are like, blowing out on a hot soup. So make
Mm-hmm.
sure that you do it slow and in a long exhalation. Like I always say to my patients, don't splatter the soup. So do it slow, gently. So what this does is that when you are doing pursed lip breathing with any pain, it
Mm-hmm.
automatically relaxes all
Wow.
your muscles.
Right.
And once all the muscles are relaxed, your brain gets a signal that everything is okay. And pain is just a sensation, right? So with breathing technique, you are avoiding all the extra things that you add on to the pain.
How much time do you recommend sort of doing the breathing technique? Like 5 minutes, you think is good, or that's too little?
Just 10 repetitions. That's
Okay,
it.
10 repetitions.
Just 10 repetitions. And sometimes, depending on the situation, you might need to do it more, but that's fine because you can do as much as you can. There is no side effect.
A lot of viewers, like I sometimes get questions about, meditation being so tough. I think if you even do these breathing exercises, that sort of like will get you going into the just sort of relaxing your mind and even just focusing on your breath, how it's going in, coming out of your mouth. That already is just calming your mind right there.
Absolutely. Yes. So that's the best part about mindfulness that I like, Jay. It's like, mindfulness is you are meditating
Mm.
while doing action items.
Yeah, I love that. It's like a prerequisite to, what meditation can do for you. Um, right. And a lot of people don't know what mindfulness is. So it's so simple. Okay, let's jump right into the third breathing exercise.
That's the alternate nose breathing.
Mm.
And that I very much recommend when you are having like that fogginess in your head, when you are about to go in a meeting and you just need, like, it's like at the end of the day and you are like, I really need clarity. I can't go. Or we might grab for a cup of coffee or tea just to wake ourselves
Yes,
up.
yes.
So this can be a synonym for that because
Ah,
what it does is
so pick
it
me up.
gives that extra dose of oxygen to your brain. And this technique is called alternate nose
Mhm,
breathing. So
mhm.
what you do is you can use the ring finger, the thumb, the index finger, whatever feels
I'm gonna,
comfortable.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So I'm just using the index finger so it's easier to see. And then you do the right thumb. So you are closing the one nostril with your index finger and breathing it through the right nostril. So you breathe in, close that nostril and breathe out through the other one. And now you breathe in through the open nostril, close that one, and breathe out through the right side. Now breathe in through the right, close the right, and breathe out through the left. And slowly let it go. And it doesn't matter whether you want to choose right or left first, either or is fine.
It's interesting. For all those who are watching, if you notice, Monica is breathing it very slowly. You can't even hear her breathing. It's very so. I think so. That's important, right? Not to make noise, like don't be like very soft, very gently take that air in. I think that's key, right?
Yes, yes. So you are
And
like
all those
literally present with the breath.
drinking coffee like me. Sometimes I'm like one cup, then second cup, third cup. I have to
Yeah.
start.
Just try this 3 or 4 rounds of alternate nose breathing and
Right.
see the power. Feel the experience.
Powerful. Oh my gosh, I'm already feeling super calm. And okay, so I'm going to be talking about something you mentioned in your book. You wrote physical therapy and mindfulness. Oh, sorry. This is about, we already went through that. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. I found that to be a very, very powerful thought. I'm going to repeat it one more time. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. So, Monica, if you can just explain what you've seen firsthand in all these years, patients suffering, and how you have, seen them after they've done the breathing exercises. Firsthand, what has your experience been seeing
Yeah,
them?
this is such a profound statement that pain is inevitable means you cannot avoid the pain, but suffering is optional, and that's where the power of mindfulness comes into picture.
Mhm.
So many times we just get hijacked in the situation and we give away our power to the situation.
Mm.
And mindfulness teaches you to step out of the situation, observe the situation, and handle it powerfully,
Mm.
being grounded and being peaceful. So, whenever there is pain in the body, notice that pain is just a physical sensation,
Mm.
but it's our thoughts in the brain that really adds on to that pain, and it
Mhm.
makes it so much complicated. So for example, I would say that, I'll give my example because I have gone through this.
Mm.
Like one night, like I'm very scared to stay at night alone by
Mm.
myself. That
Mhm.
was like before all these mindfulness practices,
Right.
and I was like, oh my god, why am I like that? But okay, you just accept it.
Mm.
So my husband had gone to Boston for his conference,
Mhm.
and at 2 2 a.m. at midnight, literally, like I just woke up with shooting back pain,
Okay.
and I couldn't even roll into the bed. And I was like, oh my God, I'm having this terrible pain.
Mm.
My kids are sleeping. I can't even get up. I can't even roll. What's going to happen? And all my thoughts started. How am I going to go to the hospital? I can't even call anybody. What am I going to do if even the 911 comes or the ambulance comes? Like, I can't even open the door. And
Right.
100 different thoughts
Oh my God.
kept coming. The
Right.
pain was still there,
Mm.
and then like you have to walk your talk. So I'm like, you
Yeah.
know what, let's try the breathing exercises and see. So I literally focused on the belly breathing and try to relax every part of the body.
Okay.
And that's another mindfulness anchor that we do,
Right.
like doing the body scan method.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that, and believe it or not, within 5 minutes that whole worrisome and all those
Went
thoughts
away.
settled down, and then I was able to roll. I stood up, I stretched myself a little bit, I went downstairs, I got a heating pad, and it
Sure.
was fine. It was just a muscle sprain. Like, thank God I could put my PT practices into picture.
Right.
But that time I realized that it's so important to just differentiate the thoughts that brings
Mhm.
worry and to just deal with the physical fact. And that happens with all my surgical patients, because on first day, if they had too much pain or discomfort getting out of the bed for any reason, they just develop that story in their head that, oh my God, getting out of the bed is so painful. But having them practice few breathing exercises, they feel so much better already. They become more confident, they are willing to participate, and after participating they're like, oh, that wasn't bad at all.
That
They
wasn't
get
that
that
bad.
power, the confidence, and the hope that now it's all uplifting from here.
Is that one of your biggest challenges when post-surgery, this patient is very hesitant to just slide out of the bed? Is that one of your biggest challenges?
So it depends, Jay, that where they're coming from. People
Mm,
who are really motivated and who are coming with that positive mindset and
yeah,
who know that they have so much to contribute in the recovery,
right.
they have a whole different game. But people who are very sensitive to pain, and then they just are so much apprehensive, because at Sinai they really take good care of the pain medications and manage the patient's pain very
Yeah.
well. But sometimes, as I said, that if you are in that suffering mode, if you
Mhm.
just invite all those negative thoughts, then nobody can help you.
Yeah, as you mentioned, Mount Sinai, I have big respect for them. I mean, I know, the mom was there for 3 weeks and they were phenomenal. The doctors are so good. Um, so, right. So it's really a lot of it about your mind, your state of mind. So mindfulness basically lets you, like you said, step back and just observe and then be like, hey, you know what? I need to take control over this. And not sort of just letting yourself just go. Right.
Yes.
That's really and that's good to know. I mean, everybody, listen, pain is inevitable, but like she said, suffering is completely optional. All right, now heart surgery is not just scary for the patient, so we're going to talk about the family too, or the caretakers and caregivers. I feel like they would benefit so much from your book, like even doing maybe the breathing exercises with their family member who's about to go into the surgery, right?
Yeah. So anybody who wants to take care of their emotions, because sometimes the families are more nervous to
Hmm.
take the loved ones and the people at home, because in hospital they feel confident that okay, the doctors and the surgical team, everybody is going to take care of the patient. But once they are going home, they feel that extra responsibility, that
Yes.
what if something happens to my husband or my wife, then what do I do? I don't know, I'm not a doctor. If she's becoming anxious, what do I do? How
Mm.
does he sleep? How does she sleep? Like, lot of questions comes, and which are fine, and we can address all those questions, but the key is that they have to feel grounded and peaceful from within, because if they add on their worries to the
Mm.
patient, then the patient is already going through what they are going through.
Yeah, true.
How do you become a team, and how do you be peaceful, grounded in
Yeah.
midst of everything externally that's going on? That's what becomes available with mindfulness.
Like you said, they're overwhelmed, with the
Mhm.
certs, to take care of the person. Obviously, the patient can't really. The mobility is an issue, and it takes time. A lot of these surgeries, it's not just a few weeks. It can take months to regain some sort of normalcy.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And I always encourage my patients and families to write down all their questions on piece of paper. So, and not to look out for answers all the time by themselves. I'm like, once you put down the questions on the paper, then nothing is in your head.
Yeah.
Like, you are like, know that, okay, these are the questions. And then
Right.
whenever the respective person comes in related to that question,
Mhm.
just ask him and get the answers,
That's such
rather
a
than
great idea.
trying to find those answers in your head.
That is a great idea. Put them down in a paper. Get them out of your head.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
And
Like,
especially women, I feel like men are still better equipped. I don't know, in a good way and in a bad way. But
right.
we women we analyze and overanalyze, and
And we try to like remember everything in our head, and I realized that everything should be on piece of paper. What I'm doing at 11 o'clock, 11:30, 12 o'clock,
yeah,
like plan your work and then work your plan.
it's so funny. So last week on Sunday, it was the first soccer whatever meet, and I told my husband I'm putting Veer's soccer uniform on the bed. Make sure he wears it. Okay, I'm coming back. I see them all getting ready in the car, and Veer is not wearing his soccer uniform. He's wearing. I said, I think I told you that it's on the bed, like it's right there. So yeah, we are. We want to sort of make everything a certain way, and he was like, "How does it matter?" You
Right.
know? Wow. All right. So we talked about going into surgery with a positive mindset. That is extremely important. Putting your fear aside again. going back to the book, using the techniques. I would call these tools that Monica has put in. These are tools that you can use really in every aspect of your life, not just surgery, really anything.
Yeah. I feel like I call it as like a Pandora box, like, put all the tools and take out the tools that you needed. But for that, just practicing it beforehand makes a huge, huge difference.
Different. Like even students, if you're sitting in exam,
Hmm?
for your exam, go ahead and do some of the breathing techniques. You will have so much clarity, and probably even more confidence going into your exam. So this is so good. And children, obviously, I mean, I teach Veer mindfulness as well. Ever since I started reading your book, I was telling him, like, because I can see them sort of the anxiety. They also go through their stuff, especially during COVID.
Oh, yeah.
um, in fact, that's something I wanted to talk to you about. Right now, I feel like the amount of people sort of stressing, there is jobs which are lost. So a lot of people, there's a lot of stress. What would you have to any of the viewers who are listening, that how can they navigate through this pandemic much better, come out of it stronger, happier? If you can just give any advice to them.
So first thing is remember that you cannot control the waves, but you can learn how to surf. That's the basic fundamental of mindfulness. So you can never control what the external things, what the external turbulences comes in our life. And especially with this pandemic, every single person has gone through a different phase, a different stressor, a different challenge. But the key is you have the power not to turn that stressor into the stress. And how do you do that? Just practicing some mindfulness practices,
Yeah.
just thinking that you have the power, you have the choice to
Mhm.
choose between react versus respond. No matter what situation comes, just making sure that you are the primary person who is responsible for your behavior or for your response to that situation.
Mhm.
And that's where it starts. And all you need to do is just do the belly breathing. If you don't like anything else to do, and I totally get it that not everybody is a meditator and not everybody likes to sit in a closed space with 20 minutes of meditating,
Yeah.
that's fine. But just having these breathing exercises, for example, next time in any situation, if you feel that anger or that
Mhm.
frustration or that feeling of upset or overwhelm or burnout coming in your way, then take a moment. And if you're not in a situation where you can close the eyes, just with your open eyes, even for example, while I'm talking to Jay right now, I can just focus on my breathing. I can just pay conscious attention to the breathing.
Yeah.
And I can bet you, like within 5 or 6 breaths, something will transform. What will transform? That's experiential. That is not at all intellectual. You can understand it intellectually so much that, Monica, whatever you're saying, it makes sense. But actually, to just have that taste, like if I say that, oh, this apple is so good and so delicious, and
Right.
you all would agree to it, but to experience it, you have to take a bite. And it's the same with mindfulness practices. You might get it intellectually completely, but to really, really experience it, just start practicing. It could be anything. Start with 2 minutes, start with 5 minutes, whatever works in your schedule. But do it and make it consistent. And my invitation is to just try for like 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
If
Yeah.
it doesn't work, let it go. But if it works, you know what
I
else to
mean,
do.
can I tell you, there's nothing to lose. There's nothing to lose and only to gain. I can guarantee you. Um, Definitely, if you're watching, we'd love to hear also, comment, put us some comments of how you feel. Even after one session, I mean, we would love to hear your feedback on everything that Monica is giving you. Trust me, everything she's giving you is a gift, and you really should take her advice. Now, oh, this is a big one. So rumination, which is something like, people keep on thinking about the same thing, going over and over. That actually has led to somewhat depression. Now, several studies have actually shown that mindfulness reduces rumination. That is huge,
It's
right?
like both are opposites. opposites of each other. So if you practice mindfulness, then you can't have rumination.
Yep.
So mindfulness is like, the best part about mindfulness is like, you are not ignoring or hiding or doing anything to prevent those feelings.
Right.
All you are doing is you are just observing them. Like, if for example, if I'm like feeling anxious or overburdened or just a burnout, okay, this is a thought that came to my mind, and I'm just going to observe it. And slowly what happens is that you are not hijacked by that thought.
Yeah.
You are just observing that thought, and then you choose to respond in that situation. So you are not like clinging to that negative part or that clinging to one thought, and then you are just observing it. And as you observe, you do not give the power to that thought, you
Mm.
keep the power to yourself. And that's where you start feeling that, oh, I can handle the situation, I can
Mm-hmm.
do this. And that's what brings the positive hormones and that positive feeling in that body, and it helps in rumination.
It's actually a very important point you said, that hijacking. So you let that thought hijack your mind, and really you don't want, and it's very normal to constantly think about something that didn't happen, something that somebody said to you. But like she said, don't let it hijack your mind and then completely offset any good emotion that could have come in. You're basically saying, hey, you know what, I don't want good feelings to come in. I want to sort of you know go deeper into my thoughts of negativity. So very nice. That mindfulness is just, it'll give you that, it lets you to sort of breathe in, so to speak. Okay. We spoke about mindfulness in children. I think, like I said, even especially right now, like just have a child sit with you, do the belly breaths, right? There's
And
no age limit, right, for children?
and plus, the best part about mindfulness in kids is that they get it way faster than
Yeah.
us,
They're like, boom.
because they are so, like, I always underestimated. I'm like, whether my 3-year son, he started meditating at the age of 3, and I was like, is he gonna get it at the
Mm.
age of 3? And he sure did. Like,
Yeah.
for example, with the kids, the little ones keep falling all the time,
Yeah.
right? I mean, what is our first reaction? How many times I've told you not to do
Yeah.
this,
Yeah. Yeah. Don't
right?
do this.
And
Don't do this.
that's the first instinct that comes out from a mom or a dad.
Yeah.
Instead, what do they need? Like, when you are hurt, all at that time you need is the love.
Yeah. True.
That's all you need. You don't need that questioning at that time. Once you are calmed down, once the kids are calmed down, and then you go into, okay, what's the message that we learned?
Right. And
So
and have seen this especially right now with both the parents working. The kids are, unfortunately, they're left to sort of their own, to do their own thing. But what happens is when they're doing their own thing, they're getting into trouble. And then when the parents finish their work and they look around the house and like, what just happened here? So they get angry because the kids are bored. They're at home the whole day. So this is very important. Like for parents also, just again, step back, just breathe. Just, yes, yes, things are hitting the roof. I get it.
yeah, like, you
And it
breathe
happens
and
to
then
be
you
us
handle
as
the
well.
situation. That's all.
Yeah.
Like, just calm yourself first, ground yourself, and then handle the situation. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that what kids did is right or wrong,
Yeah.
but just to approach the situation, you will have a whole different vibration around the
Yeah.
situation. Like, when my kids now, when they fell in the school or something at the recess or something that happens, right? I have like trained them just to first breathe,
Hmm.
just to calm yourself down, and then get to, like, then see, because sometimes they get so scared
Yes.
injury, and that becomes a way more complicated.
Especially when they see the blood, that's when they're like, blood. And I'm like, and like, it's okay.
Yeah.
Mhm. But yeah, like even it's so to me also, like sometimes I'm just losing it. So I do like it's taking a bit of an effort because I have to. My first reaction is to scream at them. Um,
Right.
and but yeah, like after reading your book, I feel like maybe just sort of okay, all right, it has happened. So take a breath, and then I sit down, go down to their level. And I'm like, listen, what you just did, like you know which is
Right.
very different from the usual me, which is just screaming.
Yeah. And it's work in progress. It's
It is
not going to
work.
happen overnight. Like still, I like sometimes fall in that part. And then because I have the environment, my kids would come and say, Mama, you need to breathe. Like, they know the tools and
Okay.
they would say, so
Even the
I
kids
feel
are like,
good.
mom, you need to breathe.
Yeah. And I feel good that, I created this environment because we all need to grow together.
Yeah. Have you ever told your husband also, like, honey, you need to breathe, you need to calm down?
No, I don't tell them, they tell me. So it's so much better because first
I
you have
love
to
it.
get absorbed. Like it's so natural and it's so quick for us that we are ready to point out fingers at other people. You need to do this, you need to do this, you need to practice mindfulness. And I'm like,
Yeah,
first let me do it. Let me be the example. And
yeah.
in that space, people will transform. I should not be the person who is telling them that do this, do that.
Right. And a very important thing that I've realized is we as parents, we expect our children to be a certain way. But when you yourself are not that certain way, they're going to emulate what you are. So if you are calm in the midst of travesty and you're like standing, with your with being fearless and just being strong, they too will learn from you. So very important. And I look at Monica's kids and I'm like, they really are, I would say, chip of the old block. Like she, they're calm. Especially I interact with her daughter, and I see it in her, just her mannerisms, calm, very polite, very respectful. You want your children to be respectful, but then you have to look at yourself. So that is so important. We are their biggest teachers. Not even what they're learning in school, but you as a parent, you are the biggest teacher. You are their role model.
And they are the one who chooses us, right? So
They
we
choose
develop
us.
a whole different person because of them.
I know, some of the viewers will not. They really choose you when they come into this life on earth. They're like, I like these mom and daddy, I'm going to come to them. So you have to remember that they came to you for a reason, so don't lose that. And I love it, Monica. My goodness, this was such an eye-opening interview. Again, one more time, I'm going to link her book in the bio, in the description box right below. Definitely grab yourself a copy. All right. Or you can catch her in Mount Sinai Hospital. I guess she's because are you there tomorrow, right?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. No, great. Thank you so much, Monica. Any final words you want to say before we wrap it up?
Thank you so much. It was really my honor and privilege to be here and just to share the message and just like stand together and grow together and
Mm.
learn together.
Yeah. Let's just make the future better for these children, and yeah, just let's raise better children. I think that's good, and take care of ourselves in the process.
It all starts with me.
Yeah.
Like we need to do it. We need to develop those tools and then people will go get it from there.
Absolutely. All right, I'm just gonna hold on. Okay, we can actually just say bye, and then I'm just gonna pause. All right, bye everybody.
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in.